exam.
Yeah. It's like 300 questions or something.
Yeah.
Would it be suggested, even if it was just maybe 40 questions? Or whatever?
Well, I don't think we get
on a
to choose,
smaller
but
scale?
if we get a psychological test, I mean, I would think everybody would be comfortable knowing that that test was done. I mean, who would be
You
comfortable
should have
knowing
the
that was
same,
done
you
on
should
your?
have the same test.
Right.
Same test?
You should have the same test because the test has multiple functions, it's not just about knowledge.
Right, so it's parallel, yeah. So we would just do the same evaluation?
Now, did you get any information off like the Civil Service Board, how they do their hiring process? Eric?
What do you mean, my information?
Well, I mean, some of the criteria, did you get any of that stuff from like the Civil Service Board?
I did not, they're
The
pretty.
Civil Service Board is very, very strict. I mean, when I went through the academy, I mean, they do a local, state, federal. They actually they went and interviewed my elementary school teachers. I mean, they do an extensive background check.
All that can be done. Takes time
It's just-
and money to do it.
And who?
I just think we could have avoided all this.
So if they're not MOPEC certified, they'd go through that anyway, they'd have that psychological one done, that's time they get MOPEC. So if they already have their MOPEC, that's when we would wanna input that. Is that something you guys wanna do, have done?
I would think it's a good idea, just based
I
off the
think
way
it
the
is.
world is today.
If they're,
It's just,
if they're currently employed as a cop somewhere, it would be like, considered like a lateral hire as far as MOPEC is concerned, and I don't believe there is a requirement for a psychological again.
Right, we can request that.
You can require it, yes.
Right, so I would think if they've had it and they haven't had a psychological evaluation in a while, we might wanna consider it.
I would think that's a consideration.
I don't think it would hurt.
No.
So I would want that, you're good with,
I'll make a motion that we do that if that's what we need.
so we wanna add the psychological
I'll second it.
evaluation in.
We did lie detector, base stress analysis. We got a motion.
To get in the ready. you
Well,
have
we
to
did,
do
we're
it.
gonna change it all as one, or do we?
Yeah, I think if there's a consensus, we can just change it all at once.
Okay.
So move on to the next. Was there a consensus or not a consensus over social media?
Yes, we should look into that.
Yes.
Social media, yes.
But somebody else has to do that. not us.
Probably by the same
Yeah.
person that's gonna give the psych evaluation, I would think.
Yeah, there's
No,
companies,
it's not.
yeah, it would be
It's not.
different, there's companies that do that and know what to screen out.
Okay,
Yeah.
anything else?
Do we still have the mileage, or they should live in our neighbor, or our community in the, thing? Okay,
That's all in there.
yeah.
Okay. I guess that's it. On that topic,
Okay, so what do we need approved tonight? The job description final version,
that's been approved,
it's been approved,
unless you
okay.
wanna change it
No,
further.
nobody had any changes?
Job posting,
Job posting was approved, correct?
has not been.
It's not been,
Yeah, that's
okay,
what we were
so,
just
do we,
talking
okay.
I'll make a
With the-
motion
With
to
the change, okay.
approve the posting.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
And then the resolution, where I'll add those tests that you wanted, the backgrounds, and modify the 30 days from the date that this posting actually gets put on the website.
Okay,
Might be as early as tomorrow, if that's how quick the Chiefs Association works.
so it'll be resolution 2021-20.
And then, I don't know if you want to add additional interviewers or reserve that for further discussion, I can just put a clause in here that says, the board shall will consider or reserves the right to include other interviewees.
I would think, yes, we reserve the right
So we'll make a motion on 2021-22 with the updates and changes made. Right?
That's the posting procedures.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, ordinance number 301, mandatory connection for approval.
Sam, sorry. Resolution 2021-20, the hiring
Chief
procedures.
of Police hiring procedures,
I missed that one.
Jeff and Jack.
Okay, thank you.
We approve the advertising, like 30 days, so we do it.
Yeah, we just did that.
Work out as well.
That the advertising standards, right?
Okay, so, are we doing anything on this, or it's been advertised, the advertisement's done,
For the ordinance?
Yep.
Yes.
So now we can go to.
so now we can vote, so ordinance 301.
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance number 301, mandatory connection.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor? Okay, RKO engagement letter for signature, 2020 Township audit.
It's the same thing we discussed earlier,
Well,
or is it something different?
They approved the auditor, so now this is the engagement letter, and they just asked for the board's signature, and they'll plan on coming in March, which is the typical time of year for audit.
And I just want to put out there, I disagree that we continue with this firm.
The thing that you have to deal with is the DCED has deadlines for submitting your reports. It's April, like sometime the beginning of April, so you really don't have a whole lot of time. And if you want to consider another auditor, perhaps, now you have time to consider it for your 2021 audit.
Okay, and whose signature and title do we just assign something line?
Chair.
So I'm gonna motion to sign that.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor? Okay, RKO engagement letter for signature 2020 tax collector.
Same thing.
Motion to sign.
I'll make a motion to sign that one.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye. Township planner engineer.
So this is a continuation from the reorg meeting.
So Eric, you're working with Keith on the roads, and, do we have any issues? Is there a reason we want to change at this time?
I have no interest in
Okay. Anybody else have anything, or can we put this down for this year?
Well, I do, I just wanna make sure you're gonna be able to keep up. Have you hired anybody since Scott Anderson left?
We hired Con personnel, we haven't hired an additional engineer.
Because one of the main reasons that Scott Anderson left is because there wasn't enough help for him, and we had a lot of projects coming up. So, I wanna make sure that your firm's gonna be able to handle that.
But you stepped into the role?
I'm helping out.
Terry.
There's
Noggle.
Terry Noggle of our office has picked up the planning end. I'm kind of stepping in to help from the township end. We have others like Joe Rogalski's help with other stuff, but we kind of have it. Everybody's helping out as needed to get what we need to done.
Does it seem like you're getting way more, Keith? Okay.
Very, very efficient.
Are we gonna get a single person eventually, or what?
Well, Terry's the planner.
Yeah, Terry, but I mean, we always had,
Right?
For now,
Yeah.
Terry
Well,
Noggle's name
Terry's
is.
codes, Terry's our codes enforcer.
Yeah.
He's not- I mean, he hasn't really been acting engineer for how many years? Before Scott Anderson, it was Ryan Rhodes.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, he's filling in, that's all I'm asking, are you gonna hire someone to be full-time for us? That's what I'm asking, because how many things do we have going on currently that Scott Anderson are working on? At least 6 or 8 projects that haven't really been followed up with, so that concerns me. Go as far as the census was put on hold because of COVID. Are we gonna be included in MS4? That's a big question. I mean, because that's a lot of stuff that we have to look into, so these are things that we've been trying to talk about for years now.
Right.
So I wanna make sure that you're up on that. I mean, stuff like, he was looking into the grant for 401, the red light. Is somebody still looking for money for that? I mean, there's a lot of stuff, so I mean, Keith and I started working on a list, and I didn't get that because I just been busy at work, so.
Terry said at the last meeting that he was actually following up on that red light grant and all that.
I just wanna make sure that they're gonna take care of us, cause right now he's filling in. I mean, that's not a full-time position, correct? And we have a lot of projects going on, I just wanna make sure that stuff isn't forgotten about that we started, and I'm sure new stuff's gonna be coming in.
No, I understand.
So express my concerns, even if the rest of the board may not agree, there's a lot of stuff that's still going on.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for now, I'm the main contact on the engineering end, and we have people that do MS4 work and are familiar with that, and we will, whoever needs to work on the stuff, we work on it. Now, we are actively looking for people, and we have not had a lot of success finding any candidates even to.
But may I verbally say, Eric has given me answers to things that I've been waiting for quite some time, and I just wanna say thank you. Including updating the zoning map on our website.
Okay. All right, new hire, part-time for Public Works.
Ross Miller, just want to solidify that.
All of the background stuff has come through on that, so he's officially on board as a part-time on the road crew.
So the auditors always look for the rate, so I just
Okay,
want
so-
to, for the record.
Looks like the rate for the record would be the $19.99 per hour
CDL
for
rate.
CDL rate.
Mm-hmm.
Twin Valley Mariner Grant.
Oh, someone's gonna make a motion, sorry.
Oh,
That is it.
no, motion. Did we not hire him already, or we?
It's a conditional, and we just.
Well, I'll make a motion that we
Okay.
hire him and, tell him thank you.
At the
Glad
rate
to have him
posted.
here at the rate posted.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Twin Valley Mariner Pipeline Grant update.
For that grant, what I wanted to bring up, the grant was initially submitted to do some work at the 2 ponds at Twin Valley School right near Clymer Hill Road. The initial application is for approximately $171,000. When I was going back through this, and the other gentleman in our office, the actual grant was for $100,000 and only includes work in the ponds on the school that would reduce sediment that would discharge. I think the intention when this was originally requested was to do some storm work on Twin Valley Road as well to help with that issue where it's crossing the road downstream. The work in the ponds might help a little bit without doing any design. We don't know the extent, but probably not a lot with the main issue downstream. The work has to be done this year with that grant. I guess we just wanted to make sure on our end, before we go any further, the board would be the grant's for $100,000, which should cover the work in the engineering. It's not gonna necessarily benefit the township as much as maybe
It's gonna
the school
benefit the
district.
school, it's not even gonna benefit
So-
us.
I guess, do you wanna proceed with doing that, knowing that's the case? Where we were at last month, we needed to get an agreement signed between the township and the school with who would do the maintenance on the ponds, which my understanding is minimal, but there's gonna be a lot of plantings, mowing, and keeping the structures of the pond
But we applied for the grant, correct?
correct.
Why can't we use that toward our pipe work?
When they issued
The
their,
grant was very specific, I remember that.
my understanding was the grant's mainly for removing sediment from the waterways.
Yeah, but that's routine maintenance, it should be on the school district to begin with.
Right, I mean, that's why I think you'd set the agreement would be that they would do the maintenance, I would think would be how you do it if you proceed with this. It's just, I guess, before we do it, I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware that the storm pipe work on Twin Valley Road isn't part of this grant, and that wouldn't be covered, so if you wanted to do that as part of this project, township would be responsible for those costs, or you could have, do the grant to do the work on the ponds. Again, I know we could probably slow down a little bit of water coming out of there, but without doing any design or calculations, it's gonna be minimal, so I
That's
don't
not
know.
meant to
We wouldn't
retain
wanna
water.
muddy the water,
That's
so-
not meant to retain water, so it's gonna keep dumping out. So all you're doing is cleaning the silt out, but it's still gonna flow out the same rate.
Is there a prospect of having the district pick up the cost for the piping while you pick up the cost for the maintenance that would otherwise be their responsibility? It seems like you might be able to make the numbers work.
Well, I think what we were looking at, we only got half. Is that not correct?
Yeah, we got 90%.
And so the money that we did get approved for, it doesn't help the township one bit. It pretty much helps the school redo their basin, which should be their responsibility anyway, which to me is null and void, but I guess every little bit helps. I mean, that's,
Still our money, either way you look at it, I think it's a waste,
So if
but.
we do this, they still have to do the maintenance.
That, there's an agreement on that, but I would think you would have it set up so that the school district
I
would
mean,
be
if we've got the
responsible.
grant, it might as well be used in the end, like, yeah, I mean, it's money they won't have to put out and take
well,
from.
I think it
school
would be,
taxes.
it would probably be wise for us to send a letter to the school district from the township stating that we're using our grant to help clean your basin out. Maybe when it comes time for us to do this pipe work, you could be as generous. I mean, maybe something along that lines.
Something like that, if you'd like us to, or whoever would like to send
I mean,
something
I'm
like that.
fine with that.
Because we already know that that's an issue going down there.
Right, it's not gonna go anywhere, but we can send it.
Why don't you draft a letter with the technical language, I'll review it, and then it can go out. And I'll review it with the eye towards trying to get them to commit to funding the pipe.
Which is really part of the discharge from them in the first place. That's the rate of flow that we have, it's coming from them.
Okay. XDL grant update.
And then, we just had a call with PennDOT, and their traffic planning design is reviewing that for PennDOT. We had a kickoff meeting for that, the grant was just approved and signed recently, but we had our kickoff meeting, phone conference last Friday. Essentially, there's 3 years to complete that project. The way it was set up, the township would have to pay, and then they would get reimbursed by PennDOT once it has to be shown that the township pays for the work and is reimbursed as far as payment initially up front. It's set up that the payments from this grant are for the construction portion only. PennDOT, we just got a response from them. The initial submission to them for their HOP and the work was denied. It's been sitting dormant for a year, so it's rejected. They are gonna have to resubmit, but that letter from PennDOT acknowledges that the improvements to the intersection didn't meet PennDOT's requirements, and I know also it didn't meet what you guys had wanted to see or was discussed previously for the way that intersection was set up, and I know there was some discrepancies to what was submitted on land development versus the actual grant application in the HOP, so.
Did PennDOT give any feedback?
The letter just, it has a list of comments, says those would need to be addressed. It talked about having a turn lane check, they don't want,
Well, the turn lanes aren't long enough. Keith and I went out and measured it. We can't get a truck in a turn lane because it's on a bend right before the turnpike.
so it talked about that and not wanting trucks to have to go over the WLO, and there's a list of requirements in the HOP.
Plus, I wanna go back to, did you say the township would have to put money out first?
The way to get the reimbursement was explained to me, the township has to show proof that they paid the invoice, like from a contractor, they paid it, and then you
We
would
don't
get
pay
reimbursed.
anything.
No, we argued this at the beginning, yeah, they pay for it, it just it had to be put in our name and not their
The
name.
township is sponsored because the way this grant, it's a multimodal transportation grant, it's gotta go
We're not
through
paying
the
for
township.
anything,
Okay.
it's
I
in our
just
name.
I
There's
just
an
wanted
agreement,
to
I
say you
believe,
pay for it.
already in place the developer for the payment,
Okay,
reimbursement
alright,
on that.
okay.
But the way they explained it on the conference call was Township has to pay the contractor, and then I guess we would get reimbursed from
Well, I
the
think it was
developer.
brought up because it's our township road, correct?
Right, so we have the contribution, and then
That's
that
the way
goes
the
to
written
pay.
agreement that you approved says it,
Okay,
it's gotta run through the,
Yeah, we argued
okay,
that.
that's fine,
Judge.
as long as we have the money there from them.
That was, they said that lasts for 3 years, has to be finished within 3 years, and we already set up the next meeting. They said probably every 2 to 3 months, have like a conference call to kind of keep up to date on that.
Okay.
And last I was aware, ELA Group was doing the design for the developer. I don't know if that's changed out there.
Anything else? Okay, Morgantown entrance signs estimates update.
I took the one for repair to Eckert's to have them repaired, and I'm entertaining another price for the two that need to be repainted and refurbished. If there's a local gentleman, a
He's
company-
critically ill, so I
Yeah,
can't,
anyone
he
else
can't do
that you
it.
know of?
No,
Okay.
mm-mm.
I can only do as
Okay,
much as
right.
what I know, so
Okay, so,
it, that's.
But he's already done it. That's what I mean, he's already done all this before we even met again to
No,
even,
he just did it today.
but that's what I mean,
He
it's
and I
before the
talked,
meeting.
I didn't hear from you, so he's got the
If
other
I had
one.
somebody, I would've waited till the meeting to bring the person, so now if I do, I should call right
well, at the
away?
last meeting, we asked you to put him in contact with Keith or get us a
Oh,
number.
yeah, but he's in hospital,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
not
so
even sure he's gonna
we
make
didn't
it,
hear
so,
from you.
okay.
We've only made a decision to repair that one. We've only repaired one.
Right.
And we're entertaining another price for painting. That will be 3 prices now that I've entertained for that. And
Okay.
we'll work from
And
there.
is it anybody in our township
I don't know of anybody in our township that does that work.
that
Do you
does?
know of anyone else?
I guess I could've asked the family, but, do you know Scepter Signs? I mean, they've been here 30 years in Morgantown.
And I've been working here for 19 and.
30 years.
I've seen the trucks. I
Burgundinos.
couldn't tell you
Yeah,
where
they
they're
live
based
in
out of.
Mountaineer Village for 30 years. That's, you guys need to look around a little bit.
Well, don't think that we don't try to use local businesses.
Okay.
Because we do, because I mean, Cleverly Designs, local business, she does all our signs at our parks, except for
Yeah.
state-approved signs, she does all the lettering of all of our trucks. We deal with local as much as we can.
Okay.
But,
Look,
you know,
you know,
we
I'm
can
just
go so
hearing
far.
like the gentleman over here, you're not using his company and, or in Ephrata with Eckerd Signs, and I mean, I'm hearing all this stuff going on outside of our community, and
Well, if I remember correctly, when we first got those signs, the only reason we dealt with Eckerd is because they did it for another township, if I'm not mistaken. And
That's whose
they
name
have a
was-
design
that's whose
with the
name
gold
was-
leaf.
That's who's
And they were one of the few companies, I remember this, I was in the meetings.
Yeah.
Out there then. They were one of the few companies that could do those signs the way they were done.
If I remember, the first one that was damaged, Eckerd's name was on the back of it, so I
Yes.
assumed they were the ones who did them in the beginning. So I was asking them to refurbish, repair something, their own product, that's the way.
But
I
for a
look at it.
lot of other signs, there was Claire Stolzfus, who was a resident. There's Cleverly, who's a resident.
are they still around or no?
Claire's not around.
They're not
anymore.
around,
Well,
okay,
Cleverly
took
took
over
over, so-
Claire's
Okay.
Stolzfus, so I mean.
yeah. Well, that makes sense to go to Eckerd if his name was on the back, I mean, he can repair his own work, so.
Okay, township reports, administrators report,
I don't have anything.
carnival anniversary report.
As of right now, I have the carnivals tentatively scheduled for the 3rd week of June, which is Tuesday the 15th through Saturday the 19th. The 250th celebration, we're gonna try to do on that Saturday the 19th, with also the parade. And we have not gotten together yet, we're just, we have less than 5 months, so we have to start
So you
something.
have carnival scheduled for the 3rd week of June.
Yes.
Do you have minutes from your meeting?
No.
No minutes?
And I have to say, I think the book is ready to go to the printer.
After
30 meetings.
Okay, any other updates on the anniversary?
No.
So I mean, as far as the carnival, I thought, we were gonna wait to find out on the ride vendor.
No. No.
I thought the carnivals were on hold until COVID. No?
I'm planning to schedule this thing. If it just so happens that COVID's still around, we'll plan accordingly. But I have less than 5 months to plan.
As far as, ride vendor, did we vote to approve them for
We
2021?
voted many years ago on this thing, and I don't know why all of a sudden this year it's a problem.
No, it's been every
we
year.
have to vote.
Every year.
What do you mean?
Every year, you were supposed to bring carnival records to this carnival. Every year you didn't. You said Jack the treasurer had everything. And you didn't. Until last year, you turned in a whole bunch of records, all the way back to 2015. That's very concerning. And
It's concerning in what way?
every year, this board told you you were not able to renew on behalf of the township with the same ride vendor without bringing it first before the board.
No, you said that.
No, the entire board, I'm sure it's in the minutes.
Well, show them to me in the minutes, because you know what, you approved the carnival.
It's by law.
You approved the
Any-
vendor, okay? So, you also, I think it was Sandy made the comment that the thing is making money, it's not costing the township anything, so
Yeah,
we
still
don't
have
see
to-
an issue.
We
We
still
still
have to
have to
vote.
follow
We made that comment first year. We didn't want the carnival to lose money like the day camp did, but we never meant that we never expected to make money on the carnival. We hoped to maybe use that money for improvements on the parks and stuff like that. But
No, you guys never thought it was gonna make any money. But now that it is, you know what, when I started this carnival, it wasn't about a fundraiser, it was all about putting back into the community. I even told the amusement company that when I first hired them. I went through 3 amusement companies before I finally decided upon this one. Brought it to you guys, we all agreed that it was good, okay? I even said to them, I don't plan on this being a fundraiser, because whatever money I make on this goes right back into the event. You know, when I first started this 6 years ago, this will be the 6th year for it. I started with a $2,500 fireworks display. I'm up to a $7,500 fireworks display now, because the money I get goes right back into it. I started out with entertainers that donated their time, that were local entertainers for free. Now I'm getting Nashville recording artists because the money I'm bringing in goes right back into this event. But now all of a sudden it's a problem, and it's a problem from you, okay? So to me, I take that as a personal threat against me, because right now, we went through, does the township get audited every year? Every year, right? So we've had 5 audits, and it's never been an issue, until this year. Now all of a sudden you're questioning it.
We still
So-
need to approve.
Well, there's a
every year.
contract in place right now, okay? The contract was for last year, but because of COVID, it was pushed to this year. So if you break the contract, I'm sure they're probably gonna sue the township for whatever they probably make during that five-day period.
But it's an annual contract, correct?
The last contract was a 3-year contract, and this is the last year of a 3-year contract.
and how does that happen with the board not even knowing about it?
It's because I run the carnival. Are you gonna take the carnival over?
No,
Are you gonna join the
no, but you
committee?
still
There's
have to
laws in this
approve.
world.
Laws, show me a law, show me a standard operating
Where is it
procedure
approved
with
in
the
the
carnival.
carnival?
You can't find this community by one supervisor decision.
There's 2 on it. There's 2 people on the committee.
It takes 3.
But where
It
is,
takes 5 of us to make a decision.
show
3 of
me,
them.
show me where we have a standard operating procedure on how we're supposed to run the carnival.
Any contract that gets signed, it was an annual contract in the beginning, it was
Okay,
always
that's what we're
annual.
saying, but show me where it says that.
Okay, well then, we'll-
Pay them.
Show me where it says that.
We sat here, we asked to pay them bills.
To me, it's a personal
Yeah, no, we're
vendetta
talking
against
about
me
every
because you
year
don't
we
care
were
for
voting,
something for
every
me
year
for
we
some
voted
reason.
on
I
it.
don't know
Contract
what
that
that-
has to be signed.
What do you mean? You've been accusing me,
Every
you've been
year.
accusing me of mishandling funds for a long time
No,
now.
I did not.
Okay,
I
well,
just
you know
wanted-
what?
For one.
You know what? Let's go back to July, regular meeting in July. I was on vacation. I received several phone calls, text message, instant messages, that I was the talk of the meeting about mishandling funds for the carnival.
Yes.
Well, here's the deal.
Here's
Let
the
me
problem.
say something to you. Until there's some sort of proof that I did something wrong, stay off my back.
No one
Okay.
questioned
All right.
you doing anything wrong. Here's the problem. The treasurer was having a problem with every carnival. It seemed to be later and later when he get the
Oh.
cash in for the township.
Wow.
And this year, I think it was 2 months after the carnival before he received any money from the carnival.
Well, really, because Jack's not here because
Well, we asked
it
him.
wouldn't be that you've been pressuring both Jeffrey and Jack to try to find something on the carnival though.
That's not true.
Really? He's not here. Maybe next time he's here, I'll ask him.
We'll
Okay,
ask
well,
him.
go ahead.
All
All right, so
Anyway.
what we're gonna do is,
And I
we're
asked
gonna
Jack
find the
numerous
previous
times if
meetings.
everything was okay with the
And
carnival.
we're
Well,
gonna
we
see
do
what
have,
we
we do
did
have to
each
vote
year.
on the carnival over.
Because
Oh,
Jack didn't
well,
have
that
anything.
one was-
Well, that's good,
Well,
well,
why
why
would he tell me it
now?
was okay then?
He doesn't
Okay,
know
so
if
we'll
it's
check and see
awful,
what's in the
said that he
meetings.
has
He would say he
everything.
wouldn't know, he
Okay.
wouldn't tell me it was okay.
What I've given Jack is what Jack has asked from me, okay? You
You
guys
should have
have,
given him everything.
you guys have everything now. You have everything
Now,
now.
yes, we do.
So
But
it's,
early on, the first or second year of that first year for sure, and the second year, you were told, I'm sure, by Eric, I know Eric told you at least one of those 2 years, that those carnival contracts for the ride vendor have to be held in the township office. The contract is between this community and that ride vendor. But we didn't have any but one of them, the first one, until this year.
so let's wait 6 years before this is an issue?
No, what happened when
So let's
Jack-
wait 6 years.
That's
before
not
this
how
is
it
an issue.
went.
No,
Yeah,
we're taking
here's
care
what
of it
happened.
now, but,
You're absolutely right, we are, and
Yes, we are.
everything is here.
yes.
Everything is here.
Here's the
I have
concern.
no control over the finances whatsoever.
Here's
So you
the
take them
concern.
over, take them over.
Here's the concern, okay? Jack was concerned he didn't get the money from the carnival. It was 2 months later, I think, or almost 2 months later. I said, well, Jack, I said, yeah, that's concerning. I said, but, I said, RKL, they never mentioned anything, a red flag about the carnival order. I don't know if they're ordering the carnival anyway. So I called RKL. They said, we were told not to order the carnival. Well, who made that?
RKL's been our auditor for what, past 2 years?
No, at least 6 or 7 years.
Okay, well, that's rectified now.
Maybe
They
it's
are
for
auditing
tax
it.
purposes.
What?
Maybe it's for tax purposes.
They were told by somebody, hopefully this is.
I've never
gonna
talked to
come
an
out.
auditor.
They were told by somebody because the amount of money the township received from the carnival is so insignificant
Insignificant, right.
compared to the amount of our budget, not to audit it.
Yeah, well, what's wrong with that?
Right,
What?
that's what
What's
we
wrong
need to
with
find
that?
out. We,
Yeah, who told him?
yeah.
Maybe
What?
somebody who's no longer at the, no, somebody who's no longer here, maybe?
That's what this guy's looking into.
At the last
Hopefully.
meeting, you said that there was a letter come out that the auditor wanted to audit the carnival records, and I saw nothing that said anything about carnival records. That's coming from you, so are you calling the auditor and asking him to audit this?
What are you talking about?
You made a comment at, I think it was the last regular meeting, that the auditor wants to audit the carnival records, and it's in the letter, and I'm looking at this letter, I saw nothing about carnival anywhere.
Well, I can let you know that last spring, if you remember on the agenda, was procedures for handling cash. RKL gave us procedures for handling cash. They don't want municipalities handling cash.
And I already talked to Tons of Fun, and they'd be glad to cut checks instead of cash.
We asked you that how many years? How
Okay.
many years?
That's
Anyway,
how they work. How do you, I mean, what do you want me to say? Everything is accounted for, everything is done by deposit slips,
Okay.
I've done everything
So
that
let's
Jack has
get-
asked me to do.
Yeah, but anyway, so they're not doing the audit. Didn't find out yet who told them not to or where that came from, but, we need to see what's going on. But when you finally turned those records in, we were just looking for 19 and maybe anything left over from 18, but you turned over records, we